And it's showtime. What's happening, everybody? It's me, Robert Phoenix. I'm back for another edition of the Astro Weather. And I don't know how much you pay attention to the thumbnails I use or the backdrops that I use, but I usually try to find a place somewhere in the world that has a beautiful sunrise. And today, behind me, we actually have Loch Ness. If you've never been to Loch Ness, I suggest you put it on your bucket list and either teleport there, bilocate, or actually get in a plane and fly. Although it would be nice to be on an ocean liner and cross the Atlantic and stop in Iceland and Ireland and dock in Scotland and then take a train there. Wouldn't that be? Wouldn't that just be leisurely? Take a couple of months to get to Loch Ness. Anyway, hope everybody's doing well and having a beautiful morning. And if it's not a beautiful morning, hope you're having a very beautiful day and evening. Let me just throw a little greetings into the chat here. And there we go. We're off and running. So we had the Lionsgate yesterday. Did anybody have a good Lionsgate story day yesterday? Question mark. I'm curious because I said that we would kind of compare notes and see how that went for people. Well, I can tell you for me, it was a fairly significant day. And the reason it was significant is because, so my mother, who has recently moved here, due to her health condition, let's put it that way, we sold her condo in California, and then we just went into escrow on a place yesterday. It's not a fancy place, but it's a place for her, and then I can stay there, and the cats can stay there, and so yesterday was a Lionsgate day. It was the opening of a new chapter and a new kind of era in this journey that we're on together. So, but that had been kind of in motion already. But yesterday was the day that, to some extent, we kind of became official. Went to the title company, gave him a check, and so there you go. There's my Lionsgate. The trash man whistled at me, made me feel good. Anytime the trash man gives you a cat call, that's a good day, I have to say. Jay said, made it through one of the most intense evenings, not a single wink of slumber, and everything is all rightish again. Good. There's always the morning after. Let's see. I got some needed car parts and had a good hangout with a buddy. It is hard to find needed car parts. My car has been in the shop for 2 weeks now. Still waiting on that aftermarket part. So that's a good moment, actually. Let's see. I got what else do we have here? Yes, it was heightened synchronicity. I always feel and with clients. Good. I cleaned my house and it was a miracle. Is that a Virgo thing? Isn't that the church mass gate? Let's see. Who else? Hey, Ryan, what's going on? Good to see you. Let's see. Premonition. I can relate. Yeah, I'm kind of in that camp too. I'm having an opening soon. I'll leave Cambodia for a new Asian country. Ooh. Who did that song about Cambodia? Who was it? Was it Kim Wilde? She did a song about Cambodia. It was actually kind of good. There's my man Steve. What's going on? Orlando, I got an answer to a health question yesterday. Carbon tolerance is a real thing. It really is. Kelly B, my daughter had her first brownie meeting. Then later woke up puking in the wee hours of the morning. There you go. That's how you parent. Claire says my clairvoyance was particularly strong. Oh, I get it, Claire, clairvoyance. which is an indicator that I feel many were experiencing for the first time. Lots of cleaning and clearing out. It's always a good thing. It's a good thing. Let's see. Who else do we have here? I think we're good. I think we're good. Okay, why don't we get going? Let's look at the chart. Oh, the other thing I was doing yesterday is I was working on some ideas for the new show. Very excited. Very excited with some of these ideas. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That moon is at 29 Taurus as we speak, which means that it is at the anaretic degree. And oh my God, I'm sorry. My mother is having a difficult time today. So hopefully she'll get through this, which she usually does. So she also had her first doctor's appointment with her first physician here in Texas. So that was a milestone for her. Anyway, we have the sun at the moon at 29 degrees, anaretic. So yeah, I mean, I have my morning coffee, which is built in with some collagen and MCT oil and all that fancy shit. So that was my morning elixir, and I think I'm going to try to go most of the day without eating. And I say most of the day. I'll see if I can go from the morning till sometime in the evening, which I've done before. It's not impossible. But at the 29th degree with that moon there in Taurus, I think I'm good for now. I hope you guys got your work and plan, which was part of the blueprint and the roadmap yesterday. So I hope that worked out for you guys. We're still kind of in that mode a little bit, right? Mars is at 18. It's still in trine with Jupiter. Hard work and effort pay off. And remember the formula that I gave was when Mars goes into Capricorn, right? This is when it all pays off. You go from Earth to Earth, connecting the grand trine or a trine that would be connected once Mars moves into that position in Capricorn. And if I'm not mistaken, that is by year's end because Mars picks up speed and moves pretty quickly. So anyway, that's still in effect, right? Work and effort pay off. We still have a bit of that lazy side, that streak that says, you know what, it's August, it's hot as hell, and I want to take today off, right? So we're still kind of in that, like you have a weather front and you're still in that pocket. We're still in that pocket. The thing that does change is that later today the moon moves into Gemini, so some of the sluggish energy shifts. And by the time we move into tonight, or if you're in another part of the world tomorrow, the moon, as it moves into sextile with our troika over here in Leo, including Black Moon Lilith, the energy and the activity really pick up. Right, today's a little sluggish as we start off the beginning of the day, but the energy picks up. For those of you who are not here for the Astro Weather and you're here for the Astro Evening, the moon in Gemini is not always the easiest moon to sleep on. Also, we're kind of moving into the last phases of the moon because before we go into balsamic. So if you have to make any kind of adjustments or fixes with things, the moon in Gemini can be really good. You can get them done very quickly. You're not really attached to certain things, which makes that sort of a cooperative model a little bit better. But I think this is an important phase for the moon because once it goes into Cancer in 2 days, then we're dealing with a very different kind of process. Like the letting go is hard, making adjustments is hard. It's more difficult. You want to hold on to things. You want to cling to things, especially in Cancer. I think the Cancer balsamic moon and the Scorpio balsamic moon are the two hardest moons for balsamic. But Scorpio, once Scorpio gets it, it gets it. Boom, done, gone. Right. Cancer tends to really just cling, and hang in there. I used to be friends with. I think I'd like to still think I'm a friend with her. I just haven't talked with her in a long time. And that was Molly Hall. And I used to have Molly Hall on my show a lot. And she was the astrology guide for About.com. Really interesting person, an excellent astrologer. And Molly is a Cancer sun with balsamic Cancer moon. And, we talked a lot about that in her chart and just what that was like for her and having to let go of certain things. And man, that's just like old soul territory, right? So that's another part of where we're headed in a couple of days. It's when you have to go through that balsamic phase in Cancer, um, you're really letting go, right? Now the moon will also ultimately go into Leo as part of it, so it's not just the Cancerian aspect to it. You will get some Leo as well. That's a whole other discussion. That's about pride. Okay, it's about pride. But this is a time over the next 48 hours that you can make some adjustments and adaptation. And very quickly, by the way, we do have a moon Pluto trine, which needs to be addressed. And if you need to tap into some resources today, don't be afraid to do that. I am not a huge proponent of going into debt, especially now with our current zombie economy. But if you need to tap into resources, today could be a good day for that. So if you want to sell something, if you need to sell something, you'll get good value as long as you don't buckle and try to be nice, right? As long as you don't buckle and try to be nice. So if you're looking to flip something, sell something, extract some value from it. It's a good day for that. We're gonna have that moon again, not quite. It's there by degree, but not quite by sign. That moon is going to square Gemini, and that's going to start to happen later tonight and tomorrow, and actually later today and tonight, but also going into early tomorrow. And the moon Saturn square. I mean, it's one of those squares that typically in charts, if you have it, it can be very depressive. It's a depressive aspect. So be on the lookout for that over the next couple days. If things aren't moving as quickly as you'd like, just fact check what's really going on in your life, because sometimes that moon Saturn square, we kind of get lost in the weeds. Um, but there's also something quite, that's what I'm looking for, heretical, especially with that moon in Gemini squaring Saturn and Pisces. It's a heretical moon, and I'm telling you, if anybody gets too high on the hog, that moon Gemini square to Saturn and Pisces will knock the piss out of them. And I know that the aspects here probably have nothing to do with what I'm about to say, but when I look at this brief moon square to Saturn, I'm thinking of Bill Gates. I'm thinking Bill Gates is going to have a bit of a gotcha moment, or there's something Bill Gatesy in the next 24 hours that comes up and makes him look a little foolish. Remember when he got the pie in his face? That was great. That was absolutely great. Mars, right here, of course, at 18. Virgo is kind of now in a wide opposition with Neptune. And it's going to just continue to move into a closer opposition with Neptune. I don't think you should overwork with a Mars Neptune opposition. Get your work done, be efficient, do not overwork. Don't be a martyr. Don't be a work martyr. And that's going to go on for a while. The other thing with this Neptune Mars opposition is I think we're going to see layoffs. More layoffs are coming. And the dissolution of the workforce, which is well on its way. We're in a major paradigm shift. I mean, these people, when they say they got a great reset, they're not kidding. So it's either going to go eat the bugs or take the chip and have access to Wonderland. Either way, right? Either way, that's how they want to corral us. So I would say more as we move into this Mars Neptune. Now, I'll give you a little bit of a different way to look at Neptune Mars opposition. If there is something that you want to strive for that's inspirational or creative or spiritual, right? Like the Mars Neptune opposition can actually be kind of good. You can put energy into some kind of a creative effort or dream. Neptune is the dream, and Mars is the effort to make the dream happen. So that's the other side of this Mars. And oppositions are tricky, right? Sometimes they enforce standards on us that are challenging. They look like they're outside of us, but they're not. They're really, it's a much more internal process that is externalized through the opposition. Um, now this opposition is also sort of the tilting at windmills. This is Don Quixote, right, with his sword, and he's got this vision in his head that the windmills are these giants that he's doing battle with. That's also very Mars Neptune opposition. So as we get closer into that, as Mars gets into a tighter orb, we'll see more and more of this, and you'll see people. The other side of this is, what is your hill to die on? Are you really going to commit to this? You got to be crazy. And there'll be people that'll triple down as we go deeper into this Mars Neptune. And I'm telling you, one of the things that's going to come up is COVID. COVID. That's going to come up. Now we might also see, this is the tricky part. This is really the tricky part. As more and more information gets spewed out of the collective knowing, so to speak, the other side of that is, well, when's the next one due? When is the next one on schedule? That's the other side of this, right? So this is a little tricky territory here with this Mars Neptune opposition. Not a lot of water in the sky. We do have Saturn, Neptune, but there's plenty of Earth and plenty of wood and kindling to get the job done if you are committed. Okay. Let's talk about our star of the day. Now, I have an astrology course, some of you might know, and this is one of the charts that I use to give as an example of what we call the seesaw chart. Of course, we're talking about the Jones types, or the Jones charts, named after Mark Edmund Jones. And today's star of the day is Whitney Houston, who I think has one of the most tortured charts I've ever seen. And you can just see the Leo here, right? Look at that mane. She's a Leo. Beautiful, absolutely stunning voice. She was one of those singers. I was not a huge fan of her music. It's not my style, but I can recognize talent. She's got one of those voices that when you hear it, you're so, oh my God. It's the chills down the spine kind of voice. But she has this really problematic seesaw chart, right? So over here, the seesaw chart is when you have planets over here and planets over here. In a chart, in a seesaw chart where somebody knows how to navigate, they can go back and forth and learn, they can circumnavigate the chart. I'm over here, I'm over here, I'm over here, I'm over here, and then meet me at the midpoint. Unfortunately, it tore her apart. I think she is one of the loneliest people. If you were to sit down with Whitney Houston when she wasn't high, thanks to Bobby Brown and some of her other handlers, she would have told you just how absolutely lonely she was. She's got Saturn in Aquarius in the 12th house. Saturn in the 12th house is it's alienating and isolating, right? In Aquarius, it's you double down because you're talking about friends. Like She may have had a bunch of hangers on, but Whitney Houston did not have a lot of friends and very few people she could trust. She has Pisces rising and Chiron on the ascendant in Pisces. Drug issues, big time drug issues. Look at the square with Neptune squaring the sun and squaring Venus. Just tortured here. And her Neptune to me is also indicative of when she went to Israel. She went to Israel with Bobby Brown and a bunch of these other people. And there's pictures of them. They're all in white and I think they're in the River Jordan and they're getting baptized. To me, that's very indicative of Neptune in the ninth house. But it was not enough, right? It was not enough for Whitney Houston. Nothing was ever enough. She got everything bled out of her. And you can see like all the complexity. Look at all these planets in her seventh house. Holy smokes. All these contracts and all these aspects of relationship that she had to engage with. And really, True Note, Cancer, fifth house. I think she just wanted to be a mom and have kids, honestly. And the star machine ate her up. Clive Davis ate her up. Now, the other thing with Whitney, and I will say this, she's not a victim to her own chart. She had a strong will. Moon and Jupiter in Aries, right? So there was a bit of a diva about Whitney Houston, right? She had a bit of a diva quality. And, talented people like that kind of goes with the territory. They're not born every day, right? They are just not born every day. And I think over time, she probably would have, she would have settled into that. But there's very little impulse control here with the Jupiter Saturn conjunction. They're almost right on top of each other, and it's all in Aries. It's just like now, now. I want it now. I want it now, right? And the thing that made her magnetic and powerful in some ways was also a bit of her downfall. Just saying here. Um, this is just a very difficult chart to look at. Saturn Neptune square, Sun Neptune square. This is betrayal all the way around. Uh, and even the Sun Venus in the sixth house. She's a Leo. She is a queen. She is a diva, but was treated like Cinderella. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Behind the scenes, if you were to sit down and talk to Whitney Houston, outside of all the ass kissers and the hangers on, she was not treated well. And some of it was her own issues of dependency. This is a chart that is fraught with codependence. Totally fraught with codependence. And ultimately the rigors of meeting the demands of this over here in her relationships and contracts and this over here, which is she wanted to be to some degree alone to try to find out who she was and who her real friends were and be a fierce mother, right? In a lot of ways and deal with that. And then you have the tragedy with her own daughter. And how does Whitney Houston die? Drowning, right? Theoretically, in the bathtub before the Grammys, right here, right? Neptune, Scorpio, eighth house, right? Eighth house. My bad. That's not ninth house. Still, ninth house. She went to Israel and did the whole water thing. No, death by drowning, right there, right there, right. So, absolutely electrifying uh, voice performer. Leo, a real queen, diva, tragic. This is a tragic chart. Had she here, and I'll say this: had she focused on the bottom of her chart, right, foundational issues, a mother, uh, but and just finding creative work, she could have avoided all of this. But she was under contract She couldn't get out of her contracts. And that ultimately was the thing that, and there is this theory that they wanted her daughter, right? They wanted her daughter, and the story goes, she said, "Take me instead," which is very sacrificial, very very. But then Christina Bobby Brown, isn't that her name? Um, anyway, she dies, so they're together. They're together in the 12th house. The beautiful, great, talented, and tragic Whitney Houston, the modern Billie Holiday without the songs about racism and lynching and heroin. Okay, that's it. Please join me over on 15 Minutes of Flame. That's 15 Minutes of Flame, OVFLAME. And we will kind of follow up on yesterday's show, which was the incursions of the West and the neocons into Africa. Victoria Newland chiming in, actually going to the area, going to Niger. And then we have news about the Wagner Group, and who knows what the Wagner Group is, and it's all about anyway. But we'll talk about that and a lot more over on 15 Minutes of Flame. If you're interested in CBD, of course, True Hemp Science is your source for some of the best CBD on the internet. So truehempscience.com, easy to remember. Go there, check it out. I mean, Chris has done things with CBD that other people just haven't done. He's actually isolated different blends for different purposes. It is not a one size fits all operation. These are carefully crafted, organically sourced elixirs. And if you go there and spend $100 or more, just type in 15MINS, 15MINS, and you will get free product along with your order. $150 or more, get you free shipping. And let me stop sharing this. And there's always a 30-day money-back guarantee. Also, if you want to find out more about the products, you can go there and make an appointment, and Chris will walk you through everything. So, truehempscience.com. If you like this show, hit like, subscribe, tell your friends about it. It's a good place to hang out, get a cup of coffee in the morning, and shoot the shit with chat, find out some astrology. And it's just, I think it's a good way to start the day and end your day. If you're getting ready to turn out the lights, I wish you a very restful sleep and powerful, revelatory, and ultimately inspiring dreams. This is Robert Phoenix. Take good care. Hope to see you over on the 15-minute side, and bye for now.